So my name is Samir, and I'll be a faculty for this. And when it comes to my profile, I have around 10 years of experience in IT. And when it comes to this, cloud experience, I have around 3 years. Since the past 3 years, I'm working onto the cloud. Okay, and that's sort about my profile, and serving in some corporate right now. Okay, uh, that's it, guys. So now when it comes to this, this course and those things, uh, we are here to that is see think about the Azure Data Factory, and the duration would be the 2 months for this course. Okay, the duration would be 2 months for this course, and when it comes to this, and all the curriculum, everything, you can see it on the web page of this DURGASOFT online. Okay. So guys, that's it. So now let us start a small introduction about this, and then we'll continue. Okay. So guys, now when it comes to this Azure Data Factory. So guys, before we start with the Azure Data Factory, let us even see what is in Azure data engineering first. What is the Azure data engineering? So before we start with the Azure Data Factory, let us try and understand what is the Azure data engineering. What is Azure data engineering? So when it comes to this Azure data engineering, Azure is what? Azure is the name, guys. Azure is the name which is provided by the Microsoft to market its product, to market its cloud products, to market it. What's that? Cloud products. In order to market the cloud products, okay, in order to market the cloud products, what should we have it? The Microsoft is provided with the name called what? Azure. That means the Microsoft Azure, that is the Microsoft is marketing their cloud products with a name called Azure. And now when you talk about the data, what do you mean data? Data is nothing but what? Data is information, guys. Information. Data is nothing but what? Information. And when we talk about the engineering, okay, what is it? When we talk about the engineering, that is the when you talk about the engineering, let us try to see here what is in engineering. So whereas the engineering is nothing but it includes the multiple operations we perform on the data. Engineering includes the multiple operations we perform on the data. Okay, such as data integration, Then we can also call it as what that data summarization, and then we also call it as what? Data visualization. Okay, data visualization, data summarization. Okay, data summarization, data visualization, and then we have also the data reporting. Just a minute. Data reporting, etc. These are all the that is nothing but activities which happens under the engineering. So hence we can say that the Azure, many more we can say. The Azure data engineering is an end-to-end solution, okay, provided for all the data engineering activities. Whereas when we talk about the Azure Data Factory, it is one of the service we can say, guys. It is called as a service, guys. We call it here as what? Service. It is one of the service. The Azure Data Factory is what is that? One of the service. The Azure Data Factory is what is that? one of the service. ADF is one of the service. Apart from this, we have many more services provided by the Azure Data Engineering. That is called as ADB, which we call it as Azure Databricks. We have the one more service that is called as what? Synapse, Azure Synapse. Okay. Then we have what is that? One more service here. Okay. Then we have one more service here, Azure Synapse. Then we have what's that? Azure Synapse is there. And then we have what is that? Even okay. We have the Azure Machine Learning. And then we have what is that? The Azure Artificial Intelligence AI. Likewise, you have many more services are there. Okay. When we are here to talk about the ADF. That is called as Azure Data Factory. So what do you mean by Azure Data Factory, guys? Let us try to understand this. Okay, ADF. So guys, Azure Data Factory. Azure Data Factory. So what do you mean Azure Data Factory, guys? The Azure Data Factory is nothing but this is a service which is provided by the Microsoft. This is a service which is provided by the Microsoft to perform the job of data summarization. It is a service which is provided by Microsoft to perform the job of data summarization. To perform the job of what is that? Data summarization. Okay. Wherein to perform this job of data summarization, a technique called ETL is provided. A technique called what is that? ETL is provided. So that means we can say that the Azure Data Factory is used to perform the technique called ETL on the data. What is it? ETL on the data. So what do you mean ETL? ETL is nothing but it stands for what, guys? It stands for extraction, transformation, and loading. It stands for what? Extraction, transformation, and loading. Where the technique called ETL stands for what? Extraction, transformation, and loading. Extraction, transformation, and loading. Extraction, transformation, and loading. Okay. Whereas the technique called what is it? ETL is provided in order to perform the job of extraction, transformation, and loading. Where apart from this, there is one more technique provided here that is called as ELT, which we also call it as what is it, guys? ELT, which is also called as what? Extraction, as it is, which is also called as what? E stands for extraction. Then we have the LT now. L stands for loading. Yes, guys. L stands for loading. And the next one we have T stands for transformation. This is a new technique introduced here. Okay. Okay, that is called as what? ELT. Whereas the Azure Data Factory is supported for both the techniques. It is supported for ETL and as well as the ELT. ETL and as well as the ELT. Okay. It is supported for what? ETL as well as the ELT. That is extraction, loading, and transformation. Extraction, loading, and transformation. Or extraction, transformation, and loading. That's it. Okay, guys. Then afterwards, okay, guys. So what does this basically requires? When we talk about the ELT or ETL, to perform this job of ETL or ELT, it requires two things, which is an essential thing. That is called as what? One is a source and another one is called as a target. First one is the source and the second one we call it as a target. We require these two things to perform the job of ETL. That is, source is nothing but the data source. Source is nothing but what? Information source. And the target is nothing but what is that? Ultimately the destination. Target is nothing but called as what? Destination. So guys, before we move ahead and see what exactly, yes, before we move ahead and see what exactly the thing you have, between what is that? The source and the target, and what does the ETL does, and what is Azure Data Factory does. Let us try to understand few more things, guys. Okay, let's try to understand few more things. What? Let us try to see here. Okay, what are those? Let us try to see this first. So guys, we'll just come back to this. Okay. Okay. We have the two things. I'll explain you this too, because this is very much essential for us to understand what exactly the things we require to do. On-premises. What is an on-premises, first of all, and what is a cloud? Let's try to understand this. Guys, when we talk about the on-premises and when we talk about the cloud, these are the two things which is very important, that is very essentially required for us, which is very much essentially required for us. Okay. Whereas on-premises means what, guys? And what is a cloud? Let's try to understand this. Basically, guys, let's take an example here. Every one of us is using a mobile phone. Am I right or not? Everyone. I want the session to be interactive, guys. Rather than me talking on the one side, I want you to even interact with me. Okay. Guys, tell me, what in my on-premises, guys? Sorry, what? Yes,
Infrastructure is in one place,
yes.
and
See,
cloud we have different data centers.
exactly. That is nothing, but technically we can say. But if a layman wanted to understand what is exactly the cloud and what is an on-premises, how to just understand it? Basically, we all are using the mobile phones. Everyone on, am I right or not? We all use the mobile phones, guys. So when we use a mobile phone, every mobile phone will have an inbuilt memory. What's that? Inbuilt memory will be there. Inbuilt memory will be there for every mobile phone. Let us say when you bought a mobile phone, by default you got the memory of 15 GB, or you can say by default you got the 16 GB as the memory in your mobile phone. Later on you felt that you require the 16 GB is not getting sufficient to store your data. What you have done, you bought an SD card, that is SanDisk card, you have bought it, and you have installed the same. So, and this capacity of your SanDisk is, what is it, 32. So now, guys, totally, what is the size of your mobile phone now? 16 plus 32. That means you can store up to 16 plus 32 GB. So tell me now, what is the 16 plus 32? You have it? Yes, guys. 16 plus 32 means what? 44 GB. Am I right?
48.
Sorry, 48. Sorry. 48 GB, guys. Totally, you have 48 GB. You can store it. You can totally store, what is it, 48 GB of the memory, you can store it. But further you found that even this 48 GB is not sufficient for you. So you require more data to be stored. That is nothing but you have a data of around, okay, you have a data of around 800 GB is there. So at that time, what you can do, what is the alternative you have it? As you don't have any other alternative, that is something, but you don't want to change your mobile phone or buy a new mobile phone. In the same way, you don't want to, you don't have a chance of expanding your mobile phone memory also. In such case, what we do is we simply store the data into the Google Drive. Am I right or not? You have an option called what? Google Drive to store the data. Yes, guys, we have an option called what? Google Drive to store the data. So when we store the data in the Google Drive, everyone, when we store the data in the Google Drive, so what happens? By default, even in the Google Drive, the data provided is what? 15 GB only. But is it possible, if you want to store 800 GB of data, is it possible to store the 800 GB of the data on the Google Drive, guys? Tell me now.
No, no.
Yes, in fact, it is possible. It is possible to store the 800 GB or more than that, for which we need to pay the separate cost. 15 GB is free, guys. 15 GB is free. If apart from this, if you want any other size, then you have to pay the cost to the Google. So now if you paid the cost to the Google and took the storage of 800 GB data, now tell me from this point onwards, who is responsible for your data storage? By the Google. Who is responsible for the security of your data? Google. Who is responsible for access, providing the access? That means from where, whenever you want, from wherever you want, you should be in a state to access the data. Who is responsible? Obviously, the Google is responsible. Am I right? So we can say that we can access the data from anywhere, any location. Suppose today you are there in India, tomorrow you have been to the America. So if you want to access your Gmail account from there, or you want to access your Google Drive from the US, so it is possible to access, guys. It is possible to access. It is possible to access the data from the Google Drive. It is possible to access the data from the Google Drive from irrespective of the locations. And the second reason is that, security. Whenever you want the security of your data, whatever you store it, that is the responsibility of the Google. And the third reason what we can say here is, guys, and the third reason what we can say is, apart from this, the third reason what we can say here is, guys, the third reason what we can say here is that, so that is nothing but that is storage. So that means the storage, unlimited storage, whatever the amount of storage you want, that much you can expand by paying the cost here. That is the feature you have in the Google Drive. In the same way, guys, now tell me how many kind of storages you have it. Mobile storage and as well as the Google storage. Whereas mobile storage is like your on-premises. Mobile storage is nothing but what? Your on-premises data is called as what? Your on-premises data. Your on-premises data is called as what is that? Your on-premises data is nothing but mobile data. So whatever the information you store in a mobile phone, that is called as what? On-premises. In the same way, whatever the information you store it in the Google Drive, that is called as what? Cloud data. So now, guys, at a very small scale, even we are trying to store the data in the Google Drive to have, to avoid the cost, to save the cost. So instead of spending more cost on buying a new handset, simply you can expand your, you can use the current handset by storing the data into the Google Drive. Am I right or not? Likewise, guys, likewise, you can store the data into the what's that Google Drive, or if you're using the iPhone, you have iCloud is there, etc., etc. Various drives are provided where we can store the data. So in the same way, guys, even as at a very small scale, as we are thinking of storing the data into the Google Drive for our, the facilitated this thing, in the same way, all the business entity is right now, in a plan, or they are implementing already to move from the on-premises system to the cloud environment. From the on-premises system to what is that? Cloud environment. Whereas, guys, for moving on to this cloud environment, they have to, basically, they have to approach a cloud provider. So who are the cloud providers in the market right now? The following are the cloud providers available in the market. Who are those? The first one is called as the Azure from the Microsoft. Okay, and the next one we have it. Amazon from AWS, that is AWS from Amazon, you can say. AWS, Amazon Web Services from Amazon. Okay, and then we have what is that? Guys, the third one, we have it as a GCP from Google. Likewise, these are the three market leaders we have it. Likewise, we have many more. SAP is also there. Okay, SAP Cloud is there, wherein it is provided by the SAP. Likewise, we have what is that? Even the Oracle is there. Okay, Oracle has also come out with their own product on the cloud, Oracle Cloud. Okay, so etc. These are all the various providers. Even we have a China-based provider that we call it as a Alibaba. These are all the cloud providers wherein the market leaders are these three. These three products are ruling the market right now. Whereas number one out of all of them is what it? These two are the number one, we can say. Azure and the Amazon. Okay. Whereas the Azure is cheaper and the Amazon is more costlier. That is the reason people are preferring and migrating to the Azure here. Okay, that's it. So whereas they provide the services, guys, there will be no softwares. There will be only what's that? Service. So whereas these cloud providers has classified or divided their products in the form of a service. What are those? The first is called as, guys. Okay, the first one is called as what is that? The first one is called as what is that? The service here called EAS. EAS. And the second one is called as a service as what? PIAS. And the third one is called as a service as what? CIAS. So guys, just a minute, just 1 minute, guys. I'll be back. Okay, guys. So here you have what's that? CIAS. So EAS, PIAS, and CIAS. Where, guys, EAS stand for what? Infrastructure. Infrastructure as a service. Where, guys, infrastructure means what? Infrastructure is all related towards it. The infrastructure, that is nothing but the hard disk, the RAM, etc. Everything comes under the infrastructure, guys. And then we have what is that, guys? Then we have what is that? PIAS. PIAS stand for what? Platform as a service. Platform as a service. Means what? When you talk about the operating system, guys. Here, okay, we have what's window operating system. Apart from this, some of the data is very heavy. So at that time, it is not, we cannot compile it on the Windows operating system. Hence, we go with what? Some other different operating system we want, such as the mainframes operating system, IBM mainframes, or the Unix operating system. So all this is nothing but called, comes under the, this kind of service comes under what's that? Platform as a service. That is nothing but operating system, we say. Okay, OS. In the same way, we have what's that? SAS. SAAS. This means what? This stands for what, guys? Software as a service. This stands for what? Software as a service. Software as a service means what, guys? Software as a service means whichever the software you require it. Suppose you require a new software, okay, called what is that? Okay, suppose you require a software here. Okay, suppose you require a software to perform a job, to perform an analysis. Let us say you require a Power BI. Power BI is required, or Power Query is required for you. So simply you need not buy it individually. Simply you can ask your cloud provider to install this software or make this software available onto the cloud environment. In fact, they will charge you, but there will be no piracy. There will be no piracy, no installation of the having the unlicensed software, etc., etc. We can have everything genuine. So these are the three categories of services provided by the cloud providers. So cloud providers, all the cloud providers has divided their service into three categories: EAS, PIAS, and CIAS. So guys, so I think everyone is very much clear about what is a cloud and what is on-premises. Am I right, everyone? Yes, guys?
Yes, Amir. We are clear.
So now the next one is what is it? Let's come back to the Azure Data Factory here. So guys, the Azure Data Factory, we were discussing the Azure Data Factory here. We were discussing the Azure Data Factory, wherein the Azure Data Factory is one of the service which is used to perform the job of ETL, that is called as data summarization, also we call it as perform the job of data summarization. And to perform the job of data summarization, here we use the technique called ETL. And for the ETL, that is nothing but we have two techniques here, ETL or ELT. Both the techniques are provided and supported by the Azure Data Factory. Whereas for this particular technique called ETL, we require the source and the target. Between the source and the target, guys, everyone, we use the ETL or ELT. Between the source and the target, guys, we use what's that? ETL or ELT. So whatever the ETL you have it or ELT you call it, so we perform this ETL or ELT between these two. Between these two, we perform it. What is between the source and the target? Between the source and the target, we perform the job of ETL or ELT. Now, guys, let us try to understand this. Okay, let us try to understand this. What exactly the ETL has and what exactly, how does the ETL works? Guys, I'll just come out of the subject now. I'll just give you an example. Let us discuss an example here. Okay. Let us discuss an example. Now, guys, you go to a supermarket. You go to a supermarket, everyone. Let us go to a supermarket. So once you have been to the supermarket, tell me now, how many products you will have it? Everyone, please, guys, when you go to a supermarket, let us say you have been to a D-Mart. You have been to a D-Mart. Okay. So tell me now, you have been to a DMart, which is a very biggest grocery store. Tell me now, how many products you will have it there?
Whatever we need.
Exactly, whatever we need. So are you going to buy all of them?
No, which one we require.
We buy only those products which we require it, or as per our requirement, we buy it. Am I right or not? Because they may have sell anything, but we buy only whatever we require it. So guys, we go to the supermarket and pick up only those products which is required by you. That is nothing called picking up the the product which you require it. Suppose you have picked up some vegetables. Some vegetables we have it. We have picked up some vegetables. You have picked up some vegetables. You have picked up some grams. Okay. Some vegetables, some grams, and some even some coconut, etc. You have picked up. Now you bought them home. You bought them, picked up, made it build, and now you bought them home. Now tell me, when your vegetables is there, or gram is there, or anything, any kind of spices is there, currently it is in which form?
It's in raw form.
Exactly, it is in the raw form now. So we can say that currently this is the raw form. To eat them, we require to cook it or not?
Yeah.
So that means what you're doing, from raw form, you're converting it towards a cooked form. So that means you're converting the form of the product from the uncooked form to the cooked form. So that means here in the daily life, we are performing this job. What is that? Going to the supermarket and picking up the relative product is called as, what is that? Extraction. Whereas getting them home and now they are into the raw form, cooking them to eat it, we are performing, what is that? Transformation. Ultimately, after the food is transformed, or after the food is cooked, what you will do? You will eat it. So we can say loading. Am I right or not? In the daily life also we perform this job, guys. Okay. In the same way, I will give you a good example on this. Okay. Technical type of example. Suppose you have been to the same DMart supermarket. You have a following product ID is there. Then you have the product rate is there. Then you have the product quantity sold is there. Guys, product quantity sold is there. Then you have date of sales is also there. So now these are the following columns we have it. So product ID is there, guys. The product ID. So let us say the product ID is something 123 and 124 and 125. Now, guys, these are the products where these products has the following ID numbers, or the rate we can say 100 rupees. Quantity sold is 10. And here you can say 200 rupees. Quantity sold is 10. 300 rupees. Quantity sold is 10. You have it. And now ultimately the date of sales, let us give it today's date. You have it. What is the date today? 11/04/2023. 11/04/2023. Here also 11/04/2023. This is the data you have it. Guys, this is the date. This is the information you gathered or you got it on today's date. About the yesterday's, what was the date yesterday? It was 10th. Am I right? 10th of April or not?
Right.
So now let us change it here. Some changes I made it. Some changes I made it, guys. That's it. That's it now. Some changes. Now, guys, this is the sales difference you have between the last day and today. Yesterday or today, you can say. Now, the DMart manager, that is a management, wanted to know what is the changes in the sales since yesterday till today, whether the sales has increased or decreased. In order to announce the further offers on the product, they want this information. Okay, so because these offers will be across all the DMart available. Okay, so that means we can say this offer will be applicable across the whole city, you can say. So to apply this offer, They want to decide it. What is the sales patterns? So how do they decide it? Let us say here, this job is given to you as a data engineer. Tell me now, how do you perform this job? Now, guys, everyone, tell me now, as a data engineer, how do you perform this job? First of all, you will say extraction. To know the difference between the sales. Do you require the product ID here? Yes, guys. Do you
Yes,
require the product ID?
Yes, we do.
Yes, yes, we require.
So are we performing a product to wise sales or overall sales? Overall sales.
Product ID with the sales number.
Okay, let us say product ID. Okay, you require the product ID. Okay, so let us say here. Okay, product ID. So we have picked up the product ID. Do we require the rate here?
Yeah, I think we'll need all the 4 columns.
Yes, we require all the 4 columns. Yes, so I'm picking up all the 4 columns. Now let us say here 4 columns I have picked up. Let us say some more columns are also there. Okay, let us say here. Okay, manufacturing date. Okay, then I have some other columns are also there. So just to make some this thing, I have adding it. Okay, and you have okay, manufacturing date, or I can say expiry date. Okay. These are all the some columns are required here. Let us say some 5 to 6 columns are there. But out of these columns, how many columns I'm picking up here? 4 columns. So this is nothing but called as what? Extraction. It is called as what? Extraction. This is called as what? Extraction. Now, guys, let us remove this product ID because I want overall sales. So let us remove this product ID here. So I have only 3 columns now. Now tell me, the extraction is done. Now we have to transform the data. So how to transform the data? We have to perform some changes on the data. Now tell me, if the product is removed, I want overall sales here. So guys, what is it you require? First of all, you require to know the net amount, net sales amount day wise. So now tell me how to find out the net sales amount. 100 into 10 means what? Tell me now, guys. 100 into 10 means what? 1000. 200 into 10 means what?
2000.
Very good. So exactly 2000. So in the same way, 300 into 10 means what?
3000.
So 3000. So we can say the overall sales is this much. Now, guys, I can tell you here that the net amount received on, or the net sales, we got it here as what is it? 6,000. Am I right or not? 6,000. We got it. In the same way, here is what is it? Tell me now. We perform the same job here also in the second term. In the second, on the that is on the yesterday's data. What is it? You have it 100 into 10 means what? 1000. Am I right? And then you have what's it? 200 into 20 means what?
4000.
Very good. So you have 4,000. And now 300 into 5 means what? 1500.
Yeah.
Tell me now, what is the calculation? Net calculation, you'll have it. 5,000, 6,500. Am I right?
Yes.
Now, guys, this is the data. This is the transformation you have done. But loading, before loading, you have to put it in a proper form. So I'm just putting it in a new form here. Net sales amount is what? I'm just giving you net sales amount is 6,000 and 6,500. In the same way, I want date of sales. DOS means date of sales. And this date of sales is what? 11/04/2023. And this is what? 10/04/2023. Getting my point, everyone? Now, guys, this 6 lines data, we have cut it off into how many lines here? Just 2 lines. So this data, finally, we load into the target, that is into the destination. We load it towards it, the target, that is called as what? Destination. So this is nothing but your destination, you can say. So generally, your destination will be data warehouse, DWH. Getting my point? So now, guys, this job is called as the job of what? Extraction, transformation, and loading. So here we perform this job of extraction and transformation and loading using the product called, what using the service called, what is that? ADF. That is called as what? Azure Data Factory. Using the service called what? Azure Data Factory. Using the service called what? Azure Data Factory. Whereas the Azure Data Factory, guys, using the Azure Data Factory, we perform this job of extraction, transformation, and loading. Whereas, guys, this Azure Data Factory performs the job between what? Cloud and on-premises to cloud. On-premises means what? When you have the data in your local computer, from the local computer, you are putting it to the cloud environment. Putting into the cloud environment. So that is nothing but, then we go with what is that? The ADF, that is called as Azure Data Factory. For example, simply I will take you to my desktop, everyone. See, this is my desktop. I think everyone is able to see my desktop. Yes, guys? Are you able to see my desktop here?
Yes, sir.
So I have some data here. Let us see the data. I have some data is here. I have some data here. Some airlines data, some countries, some planes data is here. So, okay. So I will open this. Some, okay, countries data is there. Where I have some, some raw data is there. So now tell me, this data, whatever you have it, it is local to me or everyone can access this data now? Is this data local to me or you can also access it? I'm not talking about seeing, because see anyways, you can see this by using the zoom map anyways. You have some data, see, some data is there. So can you, my question is that, can you access this data from your computer or not? No, it is local to me. That is nothing but I can say this is, it is on what? On-premises. This is on what? On-premises. So if I want this to be accessible to all of you, I need to put it into the cloud environment. Am I right or not? So for that, I will put it into what? Google Drive, and I will give you all the access. At that time, you will be able to access this data from irrespective of your location. Whichever the location you are able to access it. Am I right or not? So to transfer this data from on-premises to the cloud environment, we use, what is that? The Azure Data Factory as a service which is provided by the Microsoft. And this will work on-premises to cloud, between the clouds, and cloud to on-premises also. Reverse. All this it supports here. So this is how the thing we have it in Azure Data Factory, guys. And basically, when we talk about the Azure Data Factory, this is purely the menu driven, where we don't require to have any code without any prior coding knowledge. So you can do this ADF. It is very user friendly. Okay. And you require the part of the SQL language, but we will cover to you as a part of this course only. I'll take one SQL section. You will understand everything. So that's the thing. And
so Sameer, are you planning to show us the data flow from on-premises to Azure Data Factory? I mean, all
yes,
the
of
process.
course. Yes,
Okay.
of course. Yes, from on-premises systems to transfer, how to transfer the data. All this we will see in the form of a case studies everyday wise. Okay. So totally we are going to see the 62 case studies here. Okay. 62 case studies with the different combinations you have it, from on-premises system to cloud, or it is between the clouds or between the cross cloud computing. That is from Amazon to GCP, Amazon to Azure. Likewise, you are also going to see this. Okay.
That would be interesting to see.
Yeah. So that's it, guys. And that's it about this thing. And the class timings would be initially for 3 to 4 days, it will be 8 o'clock. Okay. Then afterwards, it will be 7:30. 7:30. Regular timing would be 7:30 to 8:30.
Please don't do that, because I have a class that I'm taking with your company that starts from at 7 and ends at 8. So if you, and I have selected your session based on the timing. So if you start at 7:30, then I'm going to lose either one of those. So I would request you please don't do that.
Anyways, for the tomorrow, for this week, anyways, we'll have this 8 o'clock. We'll discuss it, the things at the end of this. I'll going to talk to this management also once on this. Okay. So as of now, you have a 8 o'clock as the timing you have it. Okay. And the
Yeah.
session every day will be 1 hour to 1 hour 15 minutes.
So
1 hour to 1 hour 15 minutes every day. 1 hour to 1 hour 15 minutes will be the daily session.
So Samir, if you change the time, and then I'm also taking your other class, which is the Azure Databricks. Then and that is at 2:30 a.m. my time here, and I am making a lot of rearrangements on my schedule just to attend these two classes from you. So please don't change it. Otherwise, I'll have to drop. I have no other choice and
Okay.
choose the time which works for me. But again, with you, of course.
Databricks, we have already at 11:30 a.m. IST.
No, the Databricks that I have it, that will be starting at 12 noon on.
No, that will be already, that will, okay, for 12 noon?
Yes, on April 13 it will start.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I picked that session. That's the only time you had, and I had to take it. So please don't make me suffer.
Okay. Anyways, you will be starting up even the 9 a.m. morning, early morning, 9 a.m. also will be starting the ADB.
Oh,
ADB.
that will work.
That will
Because
ADB you are going to start ADB 9 o'clock. Hopefully it is on 18th, I think so. Anyways, it is not yet finalized, but it will mostly 18, 17. 9 o'clock will be ADB.
9 a.m. you mean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that I can accept because from 8 to 9 is the Azure Data Factory. Then from 9 to 10 is the Azure Databricks, and I am good with that. That will actually give me a little more sleep.
Yeah.
But if you make it to 7:30, then I'm screwed.
No issues. So anyways, guys, apart from this, when we talk about, the classes, Monday to Friday, you'll have the classes. Saturday, okay, you'll not have the class mostly. If it is required, then we'll have it on Saturdays also, very rarely. But mostly I'll take the class from Monday to Friday. That's it, okay?
Samir, starting from tomorrow or from which date?
Yeah, tomorrow only.
But tomorrow onwards it is starting.
Yeah.
Some things I need clarification. Say, Azure Synapse will be also taught here in this
Yes.
course?
Yes. In ADF, the Azure Synapse, some 2 to 3 practice sessions, we will have it on Azure Synapse also. Not the complete Synapse, but 2 to 3 practice sessions, we will have it on Azure Synapse also.
Okay.
How to
So,
configure it, how to use the data, how to get the data from Synapse.
yes. So I have one question is that since this Azure ADF is a GUI based one, so coding is not much required here. So only using ADF, we can get into job.
Definitely. The same process happens now. Basically, whether you use the code or not, that is different issue. Here, the part is that you have to extract the data. You will have to extract the data. You have to transform the data. Whether you are able to perform the transformation, you're able to perform the extraction, you're able to complete the job or not. That is the important factor here. But whether it is GUI, CUI, that is different now.
Okay. And how, say, I'm working as on-premises DBA and sometimes as a cloud DB also. So
Okay.
the shift timing is for this ADF is going to rotation or is a fixed time it will happen? I just need to know how the job is working now.
No, it will rotate the time, not the fixed one.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay. So that's it, guys. Yeah,
you will let us know tomorrow. Confirm the timings.
8 o'clock only tomorrow.
Okay, yeah.
8 o'clock. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock only. Okay. No changes in it. It will be 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye.
guys. I'm ending up the class. We'll meet tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Thank you.
Yeah. Good lecture. Thank you.